Alright guys, today I want to talk to you about when I tried out therapy, and I'm going to do that whilst I train my hamstrings. So why did I first go to therapy? So basically it was right at the start of the Ukraine invasion pretty much, and that news just really shocked me, I guess. I was really sort of panicking, thinking about nuclear war, and it really freaked me out. So instead of sitting there in this intense panic, I thought I'd try and do something about it. So for the first time, I googled some local therapists, just picked one and tried it out. And I wanted to talk a bit about what it was like. All right, let's do this first set. So basically I'm going to be training my hamstring with single leg deadlifts. I haven't done this in a while. So what was it like when I first went? So it was a pretty simple process to get started. I just sent an email and I explained how I felt, and I just said I'd really like to try out a session just to see what it's like. And she emailed me back pretty quickly and was like, I'm available. Come and try it out. Tell me what you think. So I went down. I actually went to the therapist's house, and it was basically I sat there with her in a room in her house, and I just explained what was going on with me, to be honest. And it was a bit strange at first because it's kind of weird to just tell someone that you don't know about how you're feeling. But luckily for me, I find it quite easy to say how I'm feeling. To be honest, I don't shut up about how I'm feeling. So it wasn't too much of a challenge for me to start talking. But I ended up seeing this therapist for, I'd say, maybe a year. And occasionally, if I'm going through a rough patch now, I'll ping an email and I'll say that I'd really like to have a little top-up session. So me telling you that I went for a year, that must signify that it was of some use. So, pardon me, I'm a bit out of breath already. I've been sitting around all morning. What did I get from the experience? What did I learn? So, I really mostly just learned a lot about myself and how I react to things. And it's made me think about how my brain works and try and come up with ways to not change how I react, but learn more about it. So ultimately I will kind of try and think differently about things because I've coming from a slightly different perspective. It's not like it changed things overnight for me. Went through quite a few sessions. I was just like everyone thinks of when you think of therapy, you think you're going to talk about your parents or your upbringing. And did talk about that. But I think the reason why everyone thinks that is because it is really relevant to who you are now. That those experiences you went through growing up shape how you react to things. So a lot of what I learned was just how life at home has shaped me into who I am today. Potentially why I have quite a lot of the anxieties I do is probably about things that happened when I was growing up. Well, definitely. But ultimately it did help going through that. I think going to therapy, what I mean. because I think it sort of played in with everything else I was doing. So for a long time I was making videos about mental health for the NHS, and I think doing those videos just on its own gave me quite a lot of knowledge that I use a lot of that knowledge to this day. For instance, something I found really interesting was I did a video about antidepressants and coming off of them, and basically the people talking to me were telling me about tapering and how sort of common practices of tapering now with antidepressants, or what people were doing, isn't good enough. So what they were fighting for was as you come off the antidepressant, so each dose becomes more and more of a change on the brain as you get to lower and lower doses. So say you're on a drug and it's like 50 milligrams, you go down to 25 milligrams. It's a big dose change, but it's not as big of an effect on the brain as when you get down, say you're on 5 milligrams and you go down to 2.5. That's a huge impact. That's what they were saying. So what they would do is give you liquid medications to allow you to get more refined dosages. So you could go from 5, I don't know, let's just say to 4.5 to 4 to 3.5. And then when you're in like that 1 milligram range, be like 0.5 or 0.9, 0.8, I don't know. That's what they were saying. And I found that can be applied to a lot of things in your life. In the same way, the gym teaches you about progressively making things harder so your body adapts and creates positive outcomes. So for instance, say I was doing this, exactly what I'm doing now, a week from now, I would do it a little bit more or a little bit heavier, like make it a little bit harder and go up and up and up. And that would be progressive overload. It's sort of like the opposite of tapering, but it's the same thing. And I think that's why in my head, it made so much sense to me. But anyway, what I was saying was, like, that sort of field is something I'm interested in. So I think I was the type of person that found it easier to go and use, like, you know, go and have therapy, or are more likely to use something in the healthcare system, whereas a lot of people might think, I don't want anything to do with that, I don't want to talk about it, I want to avoid it, I want to avoid everything at all costs. So for those people, I think, you know, it can be a challenge, but I think if something's really playing on your mind, or you're not happy with how you are or where you are, do you think it's worth doing? Because, you know, I keep hearing about people from like my year of school who have like, they've killed themselves, or, you know, something like that. And it just makes you think the work that you do on yourself is really important. And probably a lot of people aren't happy with their situation. So just talking about it sort of helps not diminish the problem, but it helps share it from you. So it's not so much on your mind. I know it's probably harder if you have some sort of like mental health condition. It's like not something so easily like alleviated, but finding something that brings positivity into your life is definitely, you know, something that's going to probably help. I'd say a lot of the reason why we feel bad, or me, I'll just say from my point of view, is sort of a lack of community. and you need people you can talk to and relate to. You need people you can share your experiences with. So for me, I call my gym my community centre. If I go there, like I went there maybe like a month ago, I was feeling absolutely like awful. Just going through a phase where I felt like really bad, really. Just like I felt like everything was a bit pointless, and I did get some of those thoughts, like bad thoughts, like what's the point in keeping going? And then I went to the gym, and I was sort of just desperate to talk to someone, really. And I just talked to someone in the gym, and we talked for a little bit. I just asked, he talked to him about his life and why he goes to the gym. I didn't talk about me at all. I just asked him some questions, and I felt better just talking to someone. So it's not necessarily like you need to go out and tell everyone your problems, because people don't want to hear about your problems, really. People just want to talk. I don't know. Yeah, you can't just approach people and go, this is what's wrong with me. Blah, blah, blah. Like, just talking to someone, I don't know, it made me feel better. That's why I'm sort of just telling you. Maybe it will make you feel a bit better. In the same way that talking to this camera, I think, is making me feel, I guess, lighter in a sense. Like, I don't have to think about these things so much once I've committed them to the SD card. And then I'll schedule it to upload on YouTube, and then it's like one less thing that I'm thinking about. Yeah, the thing is, I'm going to start my next set. You sort of like, if you feel like you solved a problem, your mind, well, I find my mind will just come up with a new problem. So it's not like we're trying to get rid of all of our problems. Well, I guess to an extent we are trying to get rid of our problems, but I'm just saying, like, there'll always be a problem to deal with. So just not let the problem define who you are, but just face the problem and talk about it. And it is part of who you are, your problems, but don't let it define where you're going. I hope that makes sense. And everything I'm talking about now, it's not something I learnt in the session therapy. Or maybe it is. I mostly just talked about, like what stress I was feeling, like the stress of making those videos. We had quite we managed to create quite a stressful work environment for ourselves. And then there was like other things that happened on top of that. But overall, I think it was a really positive experience making those NHS films, and I do really miss it. And since then, since that all crumbled apart, I've been quite lost in what I'm doing. I'm going through life a bit directionless. Oh, my hand's giving out. Yeah, just like not knowing the end goal, really. Where therapy was really useful, I genuinely got on with the therapist I was seeing, and my favourite part of it was, when I was in hospital. I always keep bringing this up every video. It's quite a defining moment in my most recent history. When I was there, I actually, they allowed me to go into a quiet room. I had my laptop, luckily. I just got my laptop. I went into a quiet room and had a Zoom session with my therapist while I was in the hospital. And I'll tell you what, that was like, it was a lot better than, I really appreciated the support the hospital were giving me. But from a mental health perspective, the support I was getting from the therapist was a lot better than what the hospital was offering. Because I I've done so much work where like we talk to psychologists or, you know, the people who prescribe medications for mental health issues. Like we talk psychiatrists, we talk to them quite a lot. So I kind of wanted just to talk to one, but it's the wrong person I was asking for, because I said, the consultant came round and he was like, I was just really like emotional because I was just in a bad state. And I was like, do you think I could speak to, one? And they were like, why, do you want some medications? And I was like, no, I just want to talk to him. And then it was just like, he was perplexed by it, because the only reason you talk to one is, it turns out, is to get prescribed a medication. But I thought that maybe that they would offer like a sort of talking support. I thought that would be part of it, because when we talk to them on camera, they give it, you know, they're like, oh, we do all this to support our patients. I just thought talking would be a bigger part of it than just filling out a prescription. So it turns out I was asking for the wrong person, and all I really needed was to talk to a therapist. But it's a shame they don't supply that, because I feel like that's a lot more useful most of the time. I mean, I can't say, because I've never been on those medications, how much they do or do not help. But it seems to me like we would talk to patients and that, and, you know, I guess a lot of them just needed time. They needed to talk. And I'm not sure that they were very happy on the medications that they were on. I don't think that they really liked it at all. Yeah, I can't really say, because, you know, I haven't experienced that myself. But it is something I think about. I'm just going to have a sip of water. Yeah, and then, so I wanted to talk to someone in the hospital. I perplexed the consultant with my request. So yeah, I had a session with my therapist. And also what I'm very thankful for is that my specialist nurses that sort of look after me with my bowel disease, they're very approachable. And I literally emailed them when I was on the ward. I was like, because I just wanted to talk to people. And I was like, do you think you could come down and visit me? And they did. And they came and said hello. And, you know, I really liked that. It was cool. It's very easy. Like the other day, I had a concern. I phoned them up. I talked to my assigned nurse straight away. They make it. What I was talking about this yesterday. I was saying they're the people that make you like the healthcare system, because, you know, they care about their jobs. You can tell when a healthcare practitioner in any field, like a GP or anyone, you can tell when they actually care about what they're doing, because you get that sort of feeling from them. Because I've seen doctors that you can tell that they're done, like they're just sort of sick of it. Maybe they're too stressed. They don't want to be there anymore. And then you feel that from that person. And I feel like you get much better care from someone who, you know, you could tell that they want to help you, they enjoy their job. Yes, I mean, it's going to be stressful, but, you know, they're there, they like it. You can tell. I'm going to use straps for this set because of my grip's going. Yeah. So yeah, well, what I was saying was that, like, people like my specialist nurses are what sort of give you faith in the healthcare system. Because I think a lot of people maybe become sort of disillusioned with the healthcare system in its current state, and they think, oh, like, no one's like really there to help you, or they just want to give you drugs. But I would say most people involved, they want to help. They want to make a difference, and yeah, then they don't want to just pump you with drugs and send you off. Like, I think they would genuinely see like, this medication will help this person. Yeah. Right, next set. This is so much easier with the straps. My hands are giving out. If you've never tried this exercise, try it out. It's like my hamstrings aren't screaming, but it just becomes very difficult to keep going. And the more you sort of bend over, the more it puts a stretch on your leg. Yeah, they're starting to wobble. I do think if you don't do anything like this, you should really give it a go. That was good. Because if you are going through a rough patch, there's nothing like thrashing your body with some exercise. And if you don't believe me, you just got to try it. Once you've done your exercise, you feel a lot better. I guess it's just the endorphins or whatever your body releases afterwards. It does improve your day. Oh my God. Yes, that's the one. Blimey. That was a good set. I'll probably just do one more. Oh, I'm sweating. It's a really cold day. But I'm down here in shorts and I'm sweating. Oh, yeah. Oh. Crikey. Yeah, so I feel like I haven't really talked about therapy that much, but I hope I've given you sort of like an idea of what you can get from it. I feel like you really get out of it as much as you put in, which is like quite a lot of things in life, I guess. So I don't think I would have got much benefit out of it if I didn't sort of share as much. Like, I feel like holding things back stops you from getting the full sort of help from the therapist. Like, I feel like you need to share over time throughout the sessions, like everything that worries you. Share your ways of thinking. Like, yeah, talk about your past experiences as a kid or anything that's happened to you growing up. So for instance, one major thing she said, like over the time, was like sort of approached it quite sensitively at first and was like, how would you feel if I said that you show like some signs of being on the autism spectrum? And I think that through my work doing the videos for the NHS, I'd already sort of learned a lot about autism because we'd done a few projects speaking to some of the people within a local trust that sort of train staff on autism. Done quite a few videos on various other neurodivergence. So I had an understanding about it. And, you know, once I thought about it, it did make sense. Thinking about some of the ways like I react to things or the ways I think. So it has helped me, and I guess it did sort of change. It did change the direction of what I'm doing, because now I work in a college where, I work with people on the spectrum, and I support them, and it's something that I'm personally interested in learning more about, not only to help support them, but also to learn about me. And I learn about myself through supporting them, which I find really interesting, because it'll be like, I'll see someone who's like really anxious about being around people, and I can see that in myself, and then it sort of allows me to see how I react from a different set of eyes, if you know what I mean. I'm sort of seeing someone else react in a similar way I would react, or maybe like a more extreme reaction of anxiety, but I've definitely experienced things similar, and it makes me want to try and support them. But then, it's not something I've solved. So, I don't know, just as a side thought, it's like, how much can I support that person if I haven't figured it out? And I guess, I don't know, you don't need to have figured things out to be able to help someone through something, but there's only so much I can help someone when I haven't solved like my own anxieties. So, yeah, that's just a thought. Like, it's sort of like if you're getting your advice, say on the gym or how to make money. So if you're getting your advice on the gym from someone who's been going for a year and they're on steroids and they look big, or maybe they don't even look big. Maybe they might be training like because they're on gear, or they just had their first sort of growth from just starting the gym. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just training. Maybe they might be training in a way that could cause injury, or they just train in a way that wouldn't be applicable to the other person. And they say, you do it like me. Like, you come and train like me, and then you go and do it. You get hurt, or I don't know, you don't respond in the same way that they do. They think they figured it out. Really, they haven't. They're just at the start. Like, you'd want to go to someone who's been in the gym for 20 years and has got a lot to say. Maybe they're like 50, 60. Maybe they're in the gym and, they're healthy. They haven't got many joint issues or anything. I think that'd be a great person to go to for advice. I don't know. I guess there is ways I can help that person with anxiety. Because I'm 31. I've had a lot of anxiety experiences, like over 10 years worth of experiences. So I have some knowledge. But then there's going to be, well, I guess you could say this about all things. There's always someone with more knowledge than you. So I guess there's only so far I could help that person before it's like, you need like a master. Yeah, I don't really get what my point was there. I guess it was just like, sometimes I feel like I don't have the appropriate skill set to help someone through that. And I guess it's like I can't solve their problems. I can't solve my own problems, but I like to try and help them through it as much as I can. There's only so much you can do. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough to do the job. Like I'm not skilled enough, or don't know how to support them, how they need. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, that's sort of where I was thinking with when the therapist said about autism anyway. Right, I could do a whole video on that, about sort of the things I've noticed within myself, looking back. Let's do another set anyway. I can feel my hamstrings are shot already. They're going to be sore tomorrow. This is an exercise I did during lockdown. I would do this. I put on something to watch and just do this at the desk, because I spent a lot of time just playing video games at the desk, and I forced myself to do some exercise. So I did this, and I had a dip bar, and I'd bring in the dip bar. So you do dips or inverted rows, and I'd take my office chair out. I put the dip bar in there, and I'd watch a show and do that. And I found it was the only way to make myself do the exercise was to bring it into my space where I was sitting. Otherwise, there was no way I would do it. Okay. Crikey. This is surprisingly effective, by the way. Considering the other day I was doing these sort of deadlifts with 2 legs, like the barbell, 140 kilos, and then these dumbbells might weigh like 12 or 14 or something. Shows you I've probably got some sort of weakness in my legs that you don't notice when you're standing on 2. Okay, I think that's enough. My legs are short. They feel sore already. That's a definite sign that you're going to have a lot of soreness the next day. If they're already getting sore from the exercise, probably means you should be doing it more often. Anyway, I think I've talked for long enough. Yeah, so if you're struggling, try therapy. Or try just talking to someone. Not necessarily seeing a therapist. You could just talk to someone, but a therapist is a good way to learn more about yourself. They've got a lot of knowledge and training to help you sort of see things in a different way that just talking to your friend might not so much, because they haven't got that training there. So yeah, give it a shot. That's about it. Thanks for watching.